America's Mayor live. From where, Ted? From
Manchester, New Hampshire tonight.
Manchester, New Hampshire. Live free or die. First, let me note as a displaced New Yorker that I was very, very proud and happy to see the Knicks parade today. It brought back great memories of Yankee parades, Ranger parades, parade for John Glenn. I enjoyed those very, very much, and they're a real high point in a mayoralty. It's a shame that it was bad weather, but it didn't seem to spoil it very much. And the Knicks, any word on when they're going to the White House? No word yet. Yeah, see, take a look. Take a look. The president will really. This is not put on. I mean, he really is a Knicks fan, like I am. I mean, no messing around. And despite some real problems during the series with violence, including some people killed, I think this was beautifully handled by the police. And so I think if you criticize, you got to give credit to the police commissioner and the mayor. I hate to do that with the mayor because the mayor drives you crazy, but I mean, they did do a good job with this. And I know because we had some contact and they really didn't know what they were doing. And they got it together. And neither did we when we did our first one. First one came in my first term, just at about the same, a little bit earlier than this. About the same time. Yeah, in June. It was the Ranger Stanley Cup thing. And we had to make it up. And then we became really good at it. And my former chief of staff, Tony Carbonetti, I know gave them some advice. Very gladly. And that looks like a heck of a turnout. I mean, I know these parades. I remember the Ranger turnout was ridiculous. And you thought, well, hockey doesn't have that many fans. So if it's the Yankees or the Mets or the Giants or the Jets or whatever, they do. They come from everywhere. And of course, it had been 54 years. So you had guys come in there who wanted to go to championships in 1950. And I think you had a similar situation here. I'm looking down the cross streets. And when they're all full, you're pushing 1 million, beyond it. You see, sometimes if it's a really good parade would basically be what you're seeing. But then if we started looking in the cross streets, we would see not too many people because they can't see very much in the cross streets. Work on the part of the sanitation department, which they really, really like. You know why? Why do they like this? Why does the sanitation department like this, Ted? This is what mayors know.
I'm guessing they overtime.
Oh yeah, plenty of overtime.
Overtime. Okay, I guess that's. They get to show off, I guess. If they're...
And the way it works is, instead of working hours, the sanitation department, based on my innovation, gets paid for the amount of garbage it picks up. So they can complete a regular day if they're very good in less than 8 hours. I mean, they can complete it in 5.5 or 6. Day like today, they might complete it in 4. And I have to tell you, once we did incentive-based garbage collection, the quality of the garbage collection in New York just changed. You didn't see the big, believe me. See, that's what I'm talking about, Ted. See that crowd down there? That tells you it was a hell of a big parade. And most of those people, unfortunately, are not going to get to see what went on at City Hall, although it goes way beyond the seated capacity right out to Broadway. And where are they standing? They're standing in the place on July 8 or 9, 1776. The Declaration of Independence was first read to the people of New York. right in the park. And in that park, battles were fought. People were hung by the British. The British took it again in the War of 1812. In that park, Alexander Hamilton used to walk across it going to college. And George Washington used to walk across it, going about 2 blocks south of where you're looking to St. Paul's Chapel, where he prayed before he was inaugurated as the first president of the United States. And St. Paul's Chapel was saved. Everything around it destroyed or beaten up. St. Paul's Chapel, pristine after 9/11. And it was used, the Episcopalian Church gave it to us, to use it as a hospital or a hospital outpost. I know that you're really not supposed to do what he's doing, but I wouldn't give him a ticket. Okay. So today, I think we saw there are a lot of language issues and a lot of other things with the agreement where you could say, well, this seems favorable to whatever. That's all going to work out both in the negotiations and in the performance of Iran and how strict the United States is about it. And here's where it becomes probably a question of your political position, or do you trust Trump or don't you? I do. Read Miranda Devine's article today. She'll explain it as well as I could and better. And you're going to find out. He's either not going to let him do the things that he says he's not going to let him do, or he is. And I think there's no question he's not going to let him do it. So put that aside for a second. We can't resolve that right now. We're going to find out. It's not as if it's going to be hidden. Right now, I think the biggest issue that could just completely derail this, because it isn't a question of 60 days or do they comply, don't they comply, do we release, don't we release. The little bit that has been unfrozen, which is they've stopped their blockage of the Strait of Hormuz. We stopped our blockade because both things were really making it difficult for anybody to get through the Strait of Hormuz. In return for that, we have now lifted the sanctions on their trading from there. Now, of course, that only makes sense, right? If you're going to open it. Plus, don't get all excited. That is not a meaningful amount of money in terms of the position that Iran is in. The meaningful amount of money, when you read this agreement, is in the $300 billion minimum fund. And then the real money is in the frozen assets, which are all over the world. And nobody really knows how much that is, but it's a lot. You put that together, and then Iran could start to become a threat again if they violate the agreement. So in essence, that money really can't be given to them until you are certain that the regime has changed its modus operandi, and it is no longer an enemy of the West, an enemy of the United States, an enemy of Israel, and sworn to its destruction. But the immediate problem, the solving of it, is a good thing. It restores the world economy and balances it, and at the same time, it doesn't make a meaningful difference in the division of power between the two sides. Here's the thing that could unravel it, though. Today, remember, in the agreement, the ceasefire agreement extends to Lebanon. However, the two parties fighting in Lebanon are Hezbollah and Israel. They haven't signed this agreement. Today, Hezbollah attacked 3 Israeli positions in southern Lebanon. Israel retaliated by striking 8 or 9 positions in southern Lebanon of Hezbollah. So there's a violation of the ceasefire, but not by Iran or the U.S. Now, it could be by Iran. Iran does. It's our view that Iran controls Hezbollah, but it's their view that we control Israel. So this becomes very, very difficult. And it's also very hard to make a moral equivalent between Hezbollah and Israel. Hezbollah is a group of homicidal, insane Islamic extremists who are dedicated to the annihilation of the Jewish people and the Americans. Israel is a nation that is maybe the 10th or 12th most powerful and most successful in the world. Per capita, one of the most. It's a nation that has imperfections and difficulties like all nations, but it's one of the better nations, one of the better countries. The difference between the two is a night and day. Also, here's another big difference. One has been a steadfast, loyal ally of the United States, almost unlike any other country on earth. The other has dedicated all its time, all its energy, and all of its people, when it can, to killing us, meaning Americans. So if we're going to have a benefit of the doubt here, it should go to Israel, right? Well, J.D. Vance didn't do that today. And I thought the explanation of the agreement was fine. I mean, because it really gets down to we got to see. And we have to assume that the conditions set, America's going to stick by. And if they violate them, they're not going to get anything. And it could mean we have to go back to war again. And the president has contemplated that by saying, well, we'll put bombs on the head. However, this issue of Hezbollah and Israel can't be avoided for too long, because how are we going to have a ceasefire if they're involved in anything major, and almost anything there could develop into something major. First of all, today's attack by Hezbollah was in Lebanon. They hit Israeli forces in Lebanon. Israel did the same thing. They hit back in southern Lebanon. Most of the aggravation and anger occurs when they go further up and they get close to Beirut, the capital. And they hit outposts up there and further over, because that's where a lot of their top people are. So today was it was a strike, and I think 4 or 5 people, on Hezbollah's side died. I don't think anyone on Israel's side died, which is not unusual for a Hezbollah attack. But I don't think, given the scale of how they've been hitting each other, this was, well, not having seen the whole thing, I can't say. It's listed as a much less intense attack than they've been doing. Nonetheless, people died, and there were attacks, and it creates a real issue with this ceasefire that no one is addressing, except telling Israel not to cause trouble. But you know, if they start shooting at their soldiers or people, they're going to shoot back. And then if it continues, they're going to do more than shoot back. So that is going to have to get resolved. Now, there's also a significant action significant action in Russia today. We told you, and later on we're going to play, we told you that, several days ago, Russia made a very, very massive attack, which seemed to be aimed at religious institutions. They attacked a cathedral in Odessa, they attacked a church somewhere else, and they attacked probably the most important religious site in Ukraine, the Cathedral of the Domitian, the Cathedral of the Assumption. It has any number of names. And they did quite a bit of damage to it. There's quite a compelling article in several newspapers today where the chief priest explains how the firemen and the clergy did the best they could to maintain various parts of the roof so that it can be rebuilt in something equating the 1,000-year-old monument that it is. Bishop Avrami, at about 2 a.m. on Monday, said what he saw was something out of the Bible. He thought the world was coming to an end. The roof of the main cathedral of the Kiev Monastery of the Caves, which is overseen by Avrami, was ablaze in minutes. And to save what they could from the inside, it was a night-long, into-the-day battle. First of all, to try to prevent the whole thing from caving in, and second, to rescue Ukrainian religious heritage. This was built a little less than 1,000 years ago. It was damaged by the Mongols. It was occupied by the Nazis, and at one point, part of it was blown up by the Soviets. And it was seized from the Russian Orthodox Church and handed over to Ukraine's independent church. Well, the Ukraine Orthodox Church. The Ukraine Orthodox Church broke with the Russian Orthodox Church as it became more and more apparent that the Russian Orthodox Church was nothing more than an agency of Putin's despotic government. The patriarch kept justifying the homicidal extremes of Putin. This includes a reliquary of Saint Stephen. It's a silver case that contains what is believed to be the finger of Saint Stephen. And it was almost blown up by the Nazis in 1941, or maybe by the Soviets. I'm not even sure, because the Soviets were attacking them also. Yeah, done by the Soviets, the Russians, in other words. This is why these people are not friends. I mean, in the 1930s, Stalin tried to starve them all to death. And the British government was covering it up. There's a great movie and a great hero, English hero, who was only recognized when he was an older man, who went there and was able to show that they had killed something like 20 or 30 million. They were trying to wipe out the Ukrainian nationality. And isn't that what Putin is trying to do? He's trying to wipe out the Ukrainian nationality. That's why they required for a while they all speak Russian. That's why he's taking this church out. This church had been glommed by the Russian Orthodox Church, and the Patriarch of Constantinople, that theoretically, or really, but in a very loose way, oversees all of the Orthodox churches, took it away from Russia and gave it to the independent Orthodox Church of the Ukraine. And since then, it's been the subject of attack, and as have other, I believe 795 churches have been attacked by Putin and considerably more injuries, casualties. The sub-war here is a religious war, because through a distortion of religion, Putin wants to, number one, dominate them, and number two, destroy their nationality, destroy their their Ukrainian nationality, because he believes that Ukrainians are all Russians. Unfortunately, Ukrainians believe they're Ukrainians. They have a separate language. They have a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences, and they have a tremendous amount of pride. And one thing they've proven, it's got a tremendous amount of guts. And that is, Ted, that picture, that is quite a stark picture. This was the attack by Ukraine outside of Moscow, taking out their oil facilities and some of their electric facilities that service Moscow. Purpose of this is to bring the war home to the Russian people, who are becoming more and more, as they become aware of it, more and more disgruntled with Putin's war. These are the attack outside of St. Petersburg didn't seem to me to be as widespread as this did. This seems to be quite widespread. The people covering it say it's the biggest attack that has been launched by Ukraine. And I look, I'm not an expert on drone warfare. I'm learning about it. Some of those, that looks like a drone. That looks like a drone. The other ones look like ballistic missiles. They didn't look like drones. Now, one of the things that Zelensky was talking to Trump about, as well as the others at the G7, is getting more ballistic missiles, particularly the Tomahawks. Because he's doing wonders with drones, but they don't have anywhere near as long a capacity, to fly deep into Russia. So you almost have to launch them from undercover places you've established in Russia. Now that looks like a hell of a drone. It looks to me like a missile. Once again, please notice that when I showed you the Russian attack, I showed you an attack on a church in the middle of a city. 2 children died in that attack. This is an attack on military facilities. In a time of war, attacks on energy facilities, on any form of energy facilities is considered legitimate. Where it becomes more of an issue, for example, in the Gulf, is when you attack facilities that provide water, which is, of course, vital for the civilians to live. That's more of a questionable attack. So we'll have to see what kind of impact this has. So let's take a short break, and we will be right back. And remember, we have Vitali Klitschko coming up, who can speak to the underlying problems going on here and what it means to be under bombardment for 4.5 years. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax, channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're gonna go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
So the president, having conquered the G7, which we'll show you in a minute, is now really putting it to the United States Senate. And one would have to say he's playing hardball, Chad. Wouldn't you say that? That's the case. So he's done something only Trump would do, and that's not a criticism. That's an assertion of how a president has to get done what he's got to get done when he has a Congress that is very hard to get him to do anything because they're so split, and his own party sometimes is part of the problem. The other party is permanently a part of the problem. So the president has ordered Jay Clayton not to show up for his hearings in the Senate so that they can go forward with his nomination for Director of National Intelligence. He will not do that until they confirm his successor, who's been named for U.S. Attorney in the Southern District. The reason for that is that there's every indication that Schumer will hold that until after the election, and they'll just have an acting U.S. attorney. And there are too many important cases in the most important district in the country to allow that to happen. So I applaud that. And also it leaves them with what they really, really hate, which is Mr. Pulte in charge of national intelligence. President's happy with that, but they're not. They're convinced that Pulte is going to probably find out all the things they do where they deserve to go to jail, right? Because as far as I can tell, Pulte is as straight as an arrow, and most of them aren't. So they can wait all they want, and Pulte will be sitting there. Clayton will still be in the Southern District. He doesn't leave the Southern District until he becomes head of national intelligence. And the guy that he's picked, who is a close associate of his, is on the bench, getting ready to go. Now, the number two thing that he did, which is even this one, I think they would you would think they'd compromise on this. It really is. It is an important U.S. attorney, the most important in the country, I would say. But still, I would think they'd make this deal, like put the guy through, put Clayton in, and get rid of this Pulte who you can't stand. I'm happy to have him there. I'm happy to have Clayton there. The next one is even cuter, smarter, and tougher. he's not going to sign the reauthorization of Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Act, which allows us to wire foreigners and have a pretty complete surveillance on them. It didn't pass. It didn't pass last week, mostly because the Democrats wouldn't vote. Now they want it. President says, I'm not signing that damn thing unless you pass the SAVE Act. Now, the SAVE Act can't pass, or at least that's what his majority leader tells him. Can't get, it needs 60 votes, can't get it. Well, then they don't get 702, which the president has some doubts about after all. It very possibly was used to wire, to go get illegal surveillance of many of us, could have included me, others. I certainly was illegally surveilled 3 or 4 times. And there's no real indication in this legislation that any more restraints have been put on it. So the president may very well have a position of principle on this. I think he's kind of torn one way or the other. So let them have the problem. Fascinating bit of negotiation and leadership. Trump playing hardball. I don't know. Mangione, was people were saying yesterday he's going to put in an insanity defense. First of all, he was never going to put it in an insanity defense. An insanity defense is a complete defense to the charge. In other words, if you're found insane, you're found not guilty by reason of insanity. Now, states have different things they do with you as a result of that. Some people end up in a hospital kind of prison for the rest of their lives anyway. But it is possible that you could be released too, based on what psychiatrists say. What he was trying to do was some form of diminished capacity. He said he had a profound loss of self-control. The judge asked the defense to produce all kinds of things that would show that there's some basis for this defense, which of course is ridiculous given the fact that he's been planning it. He had a journal. He went to a coffee shop first. He hid. He kept the gun at his house. I mean, it was a planned murder for an obvious motive because he hated this guy that ran this insurance company, and he was against insurance companies and what they did to people. That may be odd. That may be ridiculous. That may be evil. That's not legal insanity. Legal insanity is you basically don't know what the hell you're doing, and you got no control over what you're doing. He never fit that. Never. He wouldn't have fit diminished capacity either. And it also almost admits you did it. So the defense withdrew it. Kind of shows that the defense is kind of confused. Now, Trump announced at the G7 that he's the boss. We did play it last night, but I'd like to contrast it with the appearance of Joseph Biden, the autopen, at the G7 several years ago, and the difference in quality between a leader and a functioning numbskull. This is Biden. Where the hell? Yeah, he wants to go up with those guys that have the parachute. Come on. George.
I'm the boss.
Hey, where's my ice
It's
cream?
the one and only Digo Double G.
Snoop Dogg.
Coming in. He's the boss.
Hello, I'm the boss. How are you? Good, thank you.
Well, I should tell you that the end that this was a charming Trump, and now a lot of the leaders who were Now they're rethinking maybe they can do business with Trump. I don't know which ones. I seriously doubt the stiff in Germany is one of them. Starmer doesn't matter because he ain't going to be around for very long. He is not going to be around for very long. Now let's bring you up to date on Ukraine a little bit before we put on Vitali. Let's bring you up to date on Vitali Klitschko in case you missed last night or you need a little refresher or you missed Dr. Maria and the really touching part, which I think we're going to replay tonight about the mother who lost her son. Vitali Klitschko was the heavyweight champion of the world for quite some time, considered one of the better ones. I mean, he lost only 2 fights, both of them, just one really he didn't lose. He got an injury, couldn't go on. And the other was disputed as to whether or not it should go on. And he was ahead on points in both of them when they were stopped. And he won every other fight, something like 45-2 and 41 by knockout. He's 6'7", a gigantic, very strong, powerful. Interestingly, his brother succeeded him as heavyweight champ, although somewhat of a different kind of fighter, more of a boxer, also very big. He went into politics. He was a very good friend of mine and client and in the past and someone I worked with both before he was mayor and helped to get him elected, campaign for him, and have been in close touch with him throughout, including during the first Russian invasion. He's also a PhD and developed probably one of the biggest promotion businesses in Europe while he was heavyweight champ, retired heavyweight champ, promoted his brother, other fighters, and is clearly he's quite wealthy, although you'd never know it. He's a very regular guy. Now, he's been mayor for every day of the Russian invasion. And Kiev was their first target. They came over the northern border and were repulsed. And now they're attempting on the northeastern border to try to make inroads in Sumy, which would give them a clear road to Kyiv to the west and Kharkiv to the south. This is Russia. This is what they're attempting to do. Meanwhile, as you can see, Ukraine is hitting them back with all they got. They're making no progress. The Russians are making no progress in their land positions. They're not gaining any. They're losing a little. Enough so that they've resorted now to terrorist attacks on civilian populations, which is what the attack on the Cathedral of the Domitian was, as well as the cathedral in Odessa and 700 plus other churches, including killing children and religious. So let's listen to how the mayor, who's been through all this, including you never know when you have to go into a shelter. This is like the Battle of Britain, but much more sporadic. It isn't bombing every day, but like 3 days ago, it was substantial bombing with people dying, and the people have to be ready to go into the shelters. And they became quite disciplined, quite resolved, and extraordinarily brave. And one of the reasons for it is this giant of a man. Let's listen to Vitali. This could be a one-person war, in the sense that even now he's experiencing some real difficulties inside Russia with a lot of people who don't seem to think this should be going on so long. The problem of Vitali with every one of the proposals that I see come out of there is every single one of them is an attempt for him to set up a much easier way to attack you next time. It's so obvious. He doesn't want to make a peace where you both can protect your sovereignty. He wants to make a peace so that he even gains advantages he doesn't have now, and so that the next time he invades you, it'd be an easier task to get to Kyiv. I mean, that whole Donetsk issue is about breaking down your defenses. So let's hope that the pressure on him internally will also help. But I can't tell you how much I respect your people, and you know how much I respect you, even more than I ever have. Thank God. And anything you need, please call me. If there's anything, can individual Americans send you anything, do anything? They would love to help.
United States have huge influence around the world, and the position of United States, position of Trump, it's also very important, president of United States, and we have to be all together and all together do it, everything what we can to stop this war. It's very complicated. Not just stop war, it's also guarantee. We need a guarantee this war will be not beginning in a couple of years later. It's guarantee is very important. It's a lot of questions about territorial integrity, about safety, about guarantee. We have to put all puzzles together. It's very complicated question, but anyway, if we together, it will be easy to do it. I want to explain one story very sensitive story about. I like the job as mayor. It's good to change the quality of life of people and to build new bridges, to build new roads, new parks. It's people very thankful for that. But during the war, I had it two functions. One of them go to the hospitals and visiting young kids, a little bit over than 20 years old, with heavy injuries, and a lot of young people, no arms, no legs, sometimes no eyes, heavy injuries. And one more function I had it much more to give the medals for parents for his children who already died. Last time, couple of months ago, it's parents come together, and until right now I don't know what I have to say to them.
Yes.
Thank you. We proud. It's nothing. They lose his children, and one woman come to me and I give the medal to her for his son, and she told me, Mr. Mayor, maybe you don't remember me. 1 year ago, I already received one medal from you, from young son. The second medal for my oldest son. I promise I doesn't come anymore to you because I don't have children anymore. Can you imagine she crying? I crying also.
Of course.
It's big tragedy. It's big tragedy, this war, and we have to do it everything what we can to stop. It's the biggest dream for every Ukrainian.
Well, it's a worthy dream. It's a great dream. It's a dream that all decent human beings have, and it's one that America supports 100%. I certainly do. And my admiration for all of your people is immense. I can't wait to see you in a situation where, you don't have to worry about war every day. But I also found every one of the proposals so far from Putin to be a trap into just losing your freedom 3 years from now. He has not come up with an honest to goodness, real proposal that leaves both of you able to defend yourselves adequately if, God forbid, it happens again. You didn't lose all these people to make yourself more vulnerable to Russia. You know that. I just want you to know that a lot of Americans know that, and Americans in high positions. So we're very much with you. And whenever you have an issue, please call me. I'll try to get you the help that you need.
Thank you.
I wish I could come there and fight with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for your great concern when I was ill. I got all the messages and the wonderful video you sent me. And it was heartening to think you would put a little time aside to think about that. Well, you've got to be worrying about bombings, right? I mean, the people, it has to be a little bit like Britain during the Battle of Britain. But your people have learned how to protect themselves, I think, haven't they? They've learned how to be very disciplined.
The people, we listen sometime couple of times a day. Alarm. It's mean everyone have to go to the shelters, to go to subway underground, because it's a huge risk, and anyone will be killed. Any children, any women, any citizens in our hometown, and it's we listen so often alarm, and if we collect time together in last year, from 12 months, our citizens spent 1 month in underground, and it's very important psychological support for our people. It's also a big challenge for us. And also, you Americans know what is mean post-war syndrome, and we expect a lot of soldiers when war will be stopped coming back, and psychological rehabilitation also a big challenge for us, for whole country.
Well, you should know, and you can tell your people that every day of this war, when I'm on the air, I end my show by asking people to pray for the people of Ukraine. Every day. Must be over 400 times now. So we're always thinking about you. You're always right in the front of our minds, because you're doing what we are now celebrating, our 250th anniversary. We had to fight and die for our freedom, and they thought we couldn't win. And when this started, everybody was certain Putin was going to take over all of Ukraine, and Kiev was going to get a new Russian name of some kind. And you've sure shown something that Ukraine deserves to be and would be a great independent nation. You are, but it's got to be affirmed as against Russia. God bless you.
Rudy, thank you very much for good wishes. And I want to say, you as former mayor, but not former, the mayor for one time forever, you give me, as mayor of New York, the present glass apple symbol of New York, and I have great pictures in my house where we stay together. The apple.
Well, I'm missing you, and I'm praying for you, and I'm worried about you all the time. So keep in touch and tell your people how much support they have here. Every night we pray for them. We don't miss. Okay. God bless. God bless America, and God bless Ukraine, and God bless you and our president.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Great to talk to you. Big regards from Kyiv to New York, and I hope, I have a dream, you visiting Kyiv, and I will be present what I changed in my hometown. I'm very proud of that in peaceful time.
Me too.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to Kyiv. You will be, I promising, everyone will be really.
Well, you give my love to all my friends. All right.
My beautiful city, Kyiv, is.
You give my love to all my friends. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, it was very moving for me to watch that. I mean, he is a very, very good friend, and I worry about him every day. I remember when the first attack in 2014. I was on a golf course in Westchester County, and I got a call from Ukraine. I think they brought the phone out to me. So I went off to the side, and here I am on this beautiful golf course, and he's explaining to me the Russians are attacking. And I can hear bombs in the background. That lasted just for a while, and of course Putin did nothing to help them. Nothing. Obama did nothing to help them. There should be a whole wing in that ridiculous monstrosity that looks like it looks like a thing that might have been built by slaves as a pyramid, and the pharaoh would have killed all the slaves because it was so ugly. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know what this thing that Obama built is, but all the crooked Democrats showed up today in Chicago, which is a great place for them to meet. New York would be good too. He explained that he picked that because that's the first place he came in Chicago after he left New York, which I assume is after he had been indoctrinated or whatever the hell they did to him. And then he took up the very, very demanding position of activist and organizer, community organizer, which is the only job he ever held, except on the public, which is now he's a multi-zillionaire because of his great what? Never developed a business, never developed a law practice. He was a community organizer with a minister who hated, despised, viciously despised America. He's been trained by communists. His book was ghostwritten by a communist. Look at that thing. I mean, it could be a prison, right, Ted? What the hell is it? It got a couple of windows on the top. The rest of it, maybe they're doing all kinds of secret things in there. What do you think they do? I don't know what they do. Look at that. I mean, it's awful. That's supposed to be a presidential library. I'd be afraid to go in there. You may never come out. I'm telling you, if some Egyptian built this, the Pharaoh would have killed him. Remember the 10 Commandments when they're building the pyramids?
125.
The Pharaoh would come out every once in a while to look at the. Oh my God, there she is. Oh, what a beautiful addition to the Chicago skyline. So they get the worst looking structure built in America in the last 50 years, and they lose the Chicago Cubs. That's a good trade, huh? Now, do you believe this? He has the highest approval rating of any president.
Now, with the way the media treats him,
is that real? It can't be true. I don't know anybody.
Living presidents.
I don't. Yeah, I think living president.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Come on, the guy was awful. You can't. What did he do? First of all, he got the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize.
And it doesn't count anymore. It's like winning
before
the
he even came into office. He didn't do anything for it.
Yeah,
except win an election. Then he got us into wars that he couldn't get us out of. He did Obamacare, which is now bankrupting us, and it's 5 times more than he said it was going to cost. He promised us we'd be able to keep our doctors. Those doctors are long gone. We'd be able to keep our health care. That's long gone. He really introduced this whole left-wing nut movement that is, showing up with Mondani and the woman who won in Washington today, who's just another clone of Mondani. And I'm putting together a list of all the Mondani candidates. There are a lot more of them than you think all over the country. They're trying to take over. It all started, that's why it looks like that. Couldn't that be built in a communist country? That kind of thing.
It's crazy. It's very interesting. Like, what was he thinking with that?
You think it's interesting? I think it's ugly.
Oh no, yeah. No, I don't mean that in a positive.
I'm telling you,
I don't get it.
It looks like an effing prison, except it has no windows. Or are those just the people at the top get windows? I guess the servants at the bottom don't. Now, there are 4 other buildings built with that. There are 4 other smaller buildings. It's going to include, I think it's going to include a basketball court.
It's got to, right?
No use listening to his speeches. They were complete garbage. It's complete garbage. So let's go back to Ukraine again. So we'll have to see how Putin responds to the biggest beating that he's gotten so far in this war. Now, this is taking place while there are all kinds of stories. You never know how true they are, right? There are all kinds of stories about how Putin is getting a lot of pressure to end this damn thing. We've been in the same spot for 3 of the 4.5 years we've been at war. The war is now longer than the Second World War. We've been fighting the Ukrainians longer than we fought the Germans. The last 2 or 3 years, if there's 10 miles made up between the two of us, it's a lot. We've lost incalculable number of people compared to them. You're now trying to make up for it by deliberately killing civilians and destroying religious institutions. You've lost all our friends in Europe, if we had any friends in Europe. I mean, Germany was doing business with them left and right, behind our back for years. And now Germany is scared out of their minds of Russia. I mean, the only thing that makes people scared of Russia is that they have a nuclear weapon. They have proven to have a second-rate army. Their military tactics are asinine. Well, now, and he's run out of money to fund the war. He made a little money on the Gulf of Hormuz thing, but not enough to offset the tremendous economic damage that's been done by all the sanctions, which Europe got serious about when he invaded Ukraine because they saw themselves being next. And that changed the whole relationship with Europe. So what he's been doing, he's been taking property of Russian moguls, really oligarchs, right? That were his allies, even friends, allies or non-enemies, who he allowed to acquire great wealth. Allowed meaning they acquired it, but he didn't take it from them. He's now taking it from them. And what he's doing is a lot of them were smart enough to get their money out of Russia and buy property all over the world. He's going and taking that property from them. One big case in New York, and what they're doing, the moguls or oligarchs, Ukraine's not the only place with oligarchs. Russia has them and more of them. And considerably more brutal. This particular oligarch, who is named Valery Kogin, has a Plaza Hotel penthouse. Really, he's got 2 or maybe 3. It's hard to know. Now, used to be Putin's good friend. Putin's been taking his property. He unloaded a $29 million. He unloaded a $29 million apartment, another apartment that he had in New York. So now he's putting up these 2 attached condos that he has, and he's asking $45 million for one, and then he's asking $16 million for another. That's a 4,000 square foot, 3-bedroom. The other one is 10,290 square feet and an 80-foot terrace. An 80-foot terrace. That's the one for $45 million. He's trying to sell it before Putin gets his hands on it. But Putin's been doing this all over the world. Now, it couldn't happen to probably a better group of people than these moguls and oligarchs, because these are the people that went along and empowered Putin for years, who was supposed to be by far the richest man in Russia and the biggest thief in Russia. But now he's taking these to fight the war because they don't have money for it. That will not win you friends. I mean, despite the fact that he dominates them, when you get to a large multiple of them, you're starting to talk about real problems for you, within the population. You don't know where they have connections. And it's a little bit like Xi Jinping getting rid of all of the general staff. He now doesn't have a single general that has any kind of wartime experience. He got rid of all of them. But you don't know how much animosity and plotting you've left behind you. And the same thing is true with Putin. There are an awful lot of people who have very, very strong motives to not only overtake him, but to take him in the streets and pull him around like Mussolini. And you never know what you're hitting on when you start going after them. And he's hitting so many of them. Zelensky is right to hit him hard right now. Now he's going to hit back. We'll have to watch over the next day or two, Ted. But this was also, this will shake up the people in Moscow. They had to close down the airport, so it got to the people. I mean, he's been able to sort of conduct this war without there being much impact on the people of Russia. Lately, there have been, but Biden wouldn't let Zelensky do anything inside Russia, and Trump has been easing, and they've been moving further and further and further inside Russia. The attack on St. Petersburg, which was probably the second most dramatic attack before this one, was not really an indication of moving well into St. Petersburg, well into Russia. They've gone much further into Russia than that. But it was like a major city, really their most beautiful city. And it was done while Putin was there, trying to show off the city. The real question is, are we going to get him the missiles he needs to follow up with this? Because if we do, he maybe could get this over with. Well, that looks pretty big to me. So I think that there's a real change going on at the Fed with Warsh, and it's subtle but important. First of all, he avoided raising interest rates at his first meeting. Now this is all very interesting, but if the economy is doing well, we raise interest rates. If the economy is doing poorly, we lower interest rates on the theory that that's going to affect inflation. And I would say easily half the economists, and it could be more, do not think that is an automatic response, that it depends on the reason why the economy is growing, and whether that's going to mean increase in prices. Are the increase in prices coming from the growth of the economy, or from some other reason. In this case, they complain about it all the time. They believe it's coming from the tariffs. So what does the general economy have to do with it when it's one thing that's creating it? So in essence, they're fooling around with Trump, not based on economic data or economic theory. They're fooling around with Trump based on politics. Okay, if you're not going to stop those tariffs, we're gonna raise interest rates and slow the growth of your economy, so that we get control of inflation. But the inflation is not coming from the economy, the entire economy. According to them, it's coming from the tariffs. So Wash has done two things. First, he's kind of sorted that out, not yet with a permanent position, but so that he held back any increase in the interest rates this time around. It looked like there was probably a vote for it, but in deference to his now taking over, they took his advice. He also did not put out official guidance. Instead, they just put out information that everybody can absorb and look at and make your own conclusions. Now, that had become a really big criticism of the Fed, that it was by putting out this guidance and giving these big speeches, they were trying to become the commissar of the economy. And they don't control anywhere near enough of the economy to be the commissar. They just have to do with regulating banks. And they were taking over more and more power and using questionable economic theories to boot, not letting the market really determine. So that one act alone was a revolution, not putting out this official. They used to put out a thing saying, next time we anticipate, here's what they would have done if Jerkoff were there, who was building the Taj Mahal. They would have put out a statement saying, although we're not raising interest rates right now, we fully anticipate that there'll be 2 or 3 increases this year. Now, here's what would happen. The market would react to that, which is not a reality, it's a prediction. It's not a reality of the economy. It's a situation they create with the news they put out. It may turn out 3 months from now, the economy is very different and they never do it. Instead, put the information out. Let the geniuses who do all this in the marketplace decide. And then when you're facing the situation of having to make the decision, which is the way it used to work before the commissars took over. So this is a big change. It's an important one. And we're going to have to hope he can bring the whole Fed over with him. And it'll get it into its right limited role, which is what has to happen with so many of our bureaucracies, because our country is being destroyed by unelected fourth branch of government bureaucracies that govern by ideology and not by rational analysis of the facts. So there's another big change of Trump's that doesn't go appreciated as it should. I should tell you, because so many people are interested in this medicine. You know what GLP-1 is, Ted? So GLP,
weight loss drug,
right? But it also began, as most of these things do, and then they turn out to make more money for stylistic purposes. It turned out to be a high blood pressure drug. It was a very probably a very effective and very intense treatment for high blood pressure. It turned out that it had an impact on your desire to eat. Very complex impact in terms of the brain's appetites. And now, in recent tests, they have found out that it affects dementia and reduces the possibility of it or even the impact of it. That it has to do, to some extent, with violent behavior, because the same way in which it calms down the intense desire for food, it balances your it balances your equilibrium so that you don't overreact. This is the test. This is the test that was done. Let me see. This is you really want to go read this yourself, because with these tests you never know. But it's actually two drugs that are the names of them are Ozempic and Mounjaro. It was in a journal called Criminology, because the real thrust of it is it reduces violence. It was a blood pressure drug because it helped lower blood sugar, and it also helped you shed weight. Now, in this new test, or tests, it shows positive changes in the brain. It helps blunt ADHD symptoms. It lowers the risk of dementia and depression. And the theory of it is, if the GLP-1s are dulling addictive behaviors, could they also have an effect on aggression and violent crime? And according to the research, yes, but not enough studies to be definitive about it. Normally, the more impulsive person and the more alcohol they drink, the higher the likelihood they might act violently. For those on GLP-1, this correlation was substantially weaker. The author of the study, Daniel C. Semenza, said. That means that even when a person on GLP-1 is drinking and acting impulsively, he's less likely to go over the top, because what's happening to his brain, it's being balanced. And the chances that he'll get into a physical fight as opposed to just being angry decrease in the people that they study. What they do know about GLP-1, it affects the craving and the impulse control and the stress regulation. And they believe that this is relevant to forms of violence in emotionally charged situations. And strangely, aggression spikes dopamine. Dopamine makes you feel happy. I don't know, you look at a beautiful child and you just get this nice feeling of happiness. That's probably dopamine in your brain. You just got a big raise. You just got a big promotion. Your girlfriend said she'll marry you. These are all things. Exercise produces a dopamine in the brain, makes you happier. Sometime if you get up in the morning and you're kind of down, just get up. I don't know if you exercise or not, but stretch. Just stretch. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel, no matter how, I mean, not obviously if you have clinical depression or something like that, or really serious depression. But if you have, you're just down or you have a minor form of depression, you'll start to feel better, because the exercise releases dopamine into the brain and it makes you feel happier. Well, we're into soccer
Thanks,
time.
Doctor. That was very well said.
We're into soccer time. A couple of tidbits that you should know. since this whole situation with Iran is a matter of tremendous analysis, it's been reported that the Speaker of the Parliament, Mohammed Bagher Ghalibaf, was the main proponent of making peace. And he must be one of the people the Ayatollah was referring to, including the president of Ukraine, of Iran, that came to him and said, let's give this a chance, if that's true. I mean, there's no better than a 50% chance that what the Ayatollah wrote there is true. Might be one of the few times he wrote something true. The true part is the part about our being his enemies. According to Ghalibaf, during the statements that he made about this, which are translated, we must take over the trench from the launcher boys, lift people out of economic pressure, and build the country. Let's make their lives easier and healthy. Let's build the country that way, and it will have power. Also, he said, it's important for China to believe that Tehran is a partner in the full sense. So they realized what they were doing was having an impact on China. So that's about as rational a reaction as I've seen out of Iran ever. Right? Is it true or not? I don't know. Does it mean anything when you have the Ayatollah putting out a statement that isn't getting the attention it deserves because it contains a word that has 1,400 years of meaning? That wouldn't be there if they were in good faith. The word is enemy. That's why every Friday they vow death to America and death to Israel, because Muhammad told them to do that. And when they are religious zealots like they are, they take it very strictly, whereas other Muslims will just disregard it, God willing. The impact of what's happened with them, Finland has decided to reestablish the development of nuclear weapons, which they had been on the road to doing. And then when the Soviet Union passed off into history, they decided not to do, and then they joined NATO in April 2023. And Finland is now going to strive to become a nuclear power. You're going to see much more of this if, in fact, this thing isn't resolved quickly and it's left open as to exactly what's going to play out with Iran. So we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see how Russia reacts to getting hit really, really, very, very hard in the nose. We will come on after America plays Australia.
Yes, that's tomorrow.
And from what I can tell, not being an expert on soccer, it's a fairly even match. In other words, it's one we have a chance of winning. There are even people that have us as the favorites, and others have. They say we have more talent, and they have the single most talented player.
Really, in the whole tournament?
No.
Yeah, in the game.
In that group, and one of our better players is questionable.
3 p.m. the game.
3 p.m. So it'll be over by 5, unless the soccer time is as long as we go.
Yeah,
right?
Well, yeah, then you run into our show.
I tell you, one good thing about the soccer time now is they put it up in red. They wait until the time is out, though. So you don't get any indication while the game is going on how much more time there is. So it's 90 minutes, right? 90 minutes ends the thing, or 45 minutes in the case of the first half. So at the end of 45 minutes, they'll put up 5. That means you have 5 more minutes. And then what they will do is they'll keep adding. So you got to do the number in your head. which is fine. I mean, it's great, but particularly with the kids who can't do arithmetic, they're going to have to learn how to do it. But it is tough on the field when you're running around and you got to do a calculation to get the number. Imagine if a lot of the football players had to do that. They still like to leave it a little, and it does seem a little foggy when the game ends.
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems to go over. If a play is going on, it seems to go over. And sometimes they end it if somebody scores a goal and there are about 5 more seconds left.
Right.
So it's a little fudgy. But I've been enjoying watching it.
It's been, we had it on.
The enthusiasm level is just contagious when you hear it coming up out of the stands. And it just amazes me how many of the fans of these countries from all over the world there are that come to these games. Some of them may just be soccer fans, but a lot of them sound like they're very dedicated fans the way they're cheering.
Right. They're into
Apparently they had some trouble in Kansas City in the sense of not getting a gigantic turnout. But on the 2 coasts in Boston, in New York, in Los Angeles, we'll see about Seattle. They're getting
big sold out crowds.
Beyond sold out. So we'll be back tomorrow. Please pray for the people of Ukraine. And pray for our good friend, Mayor Klitschko. He really is a good man. And many of them are.
Sticker meal.
Oh, yes. Well, you do it.
Well, we want everyone to remember Sticker Mule, our sponsor and owned by a great conservative patriot. Go to stickermule.com/pro. Use the promo code Rudy. Your first 3 months free, absolutely free. And you might be asking, what's Sticker Mule? Well, it's a one-stop shop for all your patriotic needs, patriotic gifts ahead of.
Grab that. You can get something like that right there.
Ahead of the 4th of July.
Yeah, you get something like that.
Get this in the shot. Look at this.
You get something like that.
Stuff like this.
Or if you want to be more, you have one of these. I just ordered a few more for 4th of July. Or the stuff in Magnus. Get it from stickermule.com/Rudy. Now, second thing you can do, you set up a business. You can start selling this and you can start spreading patriotism, which is really what they and we want you to do.
Right.
Okay. So don't forget. Also, at the same time you do that, make sure you're sending your money into T2T.com. Tunnel to Towers. You see the great work they do. God bless them. And God bless America. But pray. Ukraine, you can see what they did to that cathedral. Children got killed there and elsewhere in Ukraine. Number 2, Israel. I don't know. They may feel left behind, not being part of the agreement. And the vice president kind of gave him a lecture today, but no explanation, which I think they're entitled to. What do we do when they attack us like they did today? And let's pray for the people of Iran, some of whom feel they've been left out. Now, we've got to see if that's the case, because this is not something you can do overtly. We didn't go, very publicly yelling and screaming, overthrow the Soviet Union. And when this is done, it's done with encouragement, like what the president has done, and help that you can deny. So I have no sense that the administration, although it's dealing with this, whatever is there, wouldn't prefer an entirely different administration that was based on democracy, the rule of law, and that you could trust like you can many other governments. Not most. I don't know if most governments are crooked or not. It's a close call. We'll do an analysis of that for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll follow up on this. It's all very dynamic, what's going on. And you stay with us, because a lot of this stuff you're not going to find out anyplace else. That's unfortunate. Well, you will if you go to people like us, like Bongino and people like that. I don't have to, you know who they are. Well, maybe someday we'll just list them all. But you see, then we'll leave somebody out. And I'll feel like when you invite people to a party, right? So we'll see you tomorrow. God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,